Hey friends, it's Mrs. Walker. For our lesson today, we're going to talk about adding numbers and ways and strategies that we might be able to use to make it easier to add. So our learning goal for today says, I can decompose numbers to make one addend 100 to find the sum easier. Because friends, I don't know about you, but if I'm adding like 100 plus 56, that's way easier than maybe like 98 plus 54. Right? Because anytime I can make it 100, it's easier. I can just see 100 plus 56 is 156. So I like it when numbers are hundreds. So we're going to talk about how we could do that today. So the materials that you'll need for this lesson are just your dry erase board. So make sure you have that before we get started. All right, friends. Friends, what is 17 plus 12? Think about that for a minute. What is 17 plus 12? All right, well, if you said 29, you got it, okay? Maybe you needed to look at that in the vertical form, rewrite it real quick. Maybe you could do that mentally in your head. That's fine. Whatever strategy you used to get to 17 plus 12 equals 29 is fine. Now, what about if I have 17 plus 13? What's that? Oh, some of you said 30 pretty quick. Wow, that was fast. Well, how could we get from 17 plus 12 to 17 plus 13? How could we do that one so much faster? Oh, they're almost the same. So we could add one more to 17 plus 12. Ah, that's cool. Okay, so if we think about that, well, what is 17 tens plus 13 tens? Wait, I see some of you thinking, oh, Mrs. Walker, that's hard. But, friends, look, we still have that 17 plus 13 that we just did. So we know that 17 plus 13 is 30. So it's just 30 tens. Don't let seeing that tens behind it make it think like it's a bigger problem than it is. So what is the value of 30 tens? Yeah, it's 300. Okay, I like where we're going. We're getting our minds warmed up here. So friends, what is 170 plus 130? Oh, yeah, it's 300, right? So what happened when we added those numbers? Yeah, so we made a new 100. It's just like 13 or 17 plus 13, except for the place value is different, right? There was like an extra zero thrown in there. But again, it's still the same thing. Okay, so friends, what's 17 plus 14? Hmm. Well, if 17 plus 13 is 30, then 17 plus 14 is 31, right? Because 13 or 14 is just one more than 13. So how many tens equal 13 or 17 tens plus 14 tens? So the same thing that we just did. Yeah, it's 31 tens, right? Because we still have 17 plus 14. All right, so friends, 170 plus 140 equals how much? Hmm. It's still going to be that 31 tens, and we know that 31 tens is 310. Cool. Wow, look at that. We can kind of break down some of those bigger numbers into smaller numbers when we're adding. All right, so let's take a look at this. We have 190 plus 120. If we look at both of these numbers, which of these numbers is close to the next 100? Like if I want to get to the next 100, is it going to be 190 is really close or 200 or 120 is really close? Yeah, it's going to be 190, right? So how much more do we need to go from 190 to that next 100, which that next 100 is 200. So how much more do we need? Yeah, we only need 10, right? So friends, let's look at this a little bit differently. So I'm going to take this 190 plus 120 and I'm going to break it apart. And I'm going to say this 120 is now going to turn into 10 and 110. Because if I add those together, it still equals 120. But I'm breaking out that 10 because I can add those two numbers together of 190 plus 10 to make that next 100 of 200. Well, now all I have to do is add what's left, which is 200 plus 110. Well, that's pretty easy to be able to add, right? Like my 200 plus another 100 is 300 plus 10 more. Look, it's 310. My goodness, see, look at by making that one number that was close to the next 100, that made it so much easier for me to add and solve this problem. Awesome. Okay, let's look at another one. So we have 430 plus 180. Oh, hang on, before we do gear it, I want you guys to look at this, and I want you to say to yourself, which number is closer to the next 100? 430 or 180? Which one do you guys think? If you said 180, you're correct. So now I want you to think, how much do I need to take from that 430 to make that 180 the next 100? Okay, so you're going to break that out, and then you're going to solve it just like we did the last time. That 190 only needed 10 to be able to make it that next 100. So like we're using our number bonds to help break this apart for us. Okay, so pause the video, try and solve this problem, pull out what you need from the 430 to make that 180 the next 100 of 200. So pause the video, solve this problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends. So let's look. I know that 180 only needs 20, right? Because if I look at 80, 90, 100, I only need two more 10s, right? So I'm going to break this 430 into 410 and 20. Then I can combine my 180 and 20, and that makes 200. So then I just have to add what's left. So my 200 and my 410. Well, I can look at that really easy and see 410 plus 200s. So 410, 510, 610. Check that out. So 430 plus 180 equals 610. Now, could you do that in the vertical form? You absolutely could, friends. But this is just another strategy that helps us to be able to solve numbers maybe a little bit easier. And as we get more familiar with these strategies, some of this might turn into mental math for you. You might be able to do it without even writing it down. But when we're learning a new strategy, we write it down so our mind is understanding the different steps. Okay, here's another one. So this is a little bit different because we were working with numbers that ended in 0 before. Well, now I have 295 plus 78. Well, when I look at those, 78's kind of close to the next 100, and 295, oh, that's really close to 300. So how much can I take from that 78 to make that 295 300? So you guys are going to pause the video, solve this problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends. Pause if you need more time. Otherwise, here we go. Well, friends, when I look at 295, I see that it only needs 5 more to get to 300. So I'm going to break apart this 78 into 5 and 73. Now notice, friends, that 73 came because I did 78 minus 5, and that is 73. Okay, just so you know where that comes from. Well, now I'm going to combine that 295 plus 5 to make that nice friendly number of 300. Then I have to just combine what's left. 300 plus 73, that's pretty easy to do in my head, right? Which is 373. So 295 plus 78 equals 373. All right, friends, here's our last one for today. So if I look at 527 plus 296, which one is closest to the next 100? See what you need to combine to that or add to that to make that next 100, and then solve. So pause the video, solve this problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, here we go. So if I have 296, oh man, that is almost 300. So I need 296, 297, 298, 299, 300. I only need 4. So I'm going to take 527 and subtract out 4, and then I'm left with 523 and 4. So if I combine those two together, 296 plus 4, that gives me my friendly number of 300. Then I combine what's left, 300 and 523. Add those together. Oh, that's kind of easy, right? 523, 623, 723, 823. So 527 plus 296 is 823. All right. Whew. So that's another cool strategy that you can use to be able to help you add numbers easier. So friends, well done. High five to you guys for decomposing those numbers to find the sum easier. So please head back on over to the module to see what you need to complete for your independent practice. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends!